One of these cars once carried a US president, but it also carried him to his death. Another was loved by celebrities, but some never made it home. Think luxury means safety? Think again. Can you guess which car seduced drivers with beauty and betrayed them on the road? The answers are hidden in this video. Stick around if you dare.
Chrysler Imperial, 1955 to 1975, luxury tank or chrome-clad killer. It wasn't just a car, it was Chrysler's answer to Cadillac and Lincoln, a rolling statement of dominance. The Chrysler Imperial was big, bold, and built like a fortress. Chrome grills, push-button transmissions, and V8 engines the size of bathtubs. But here's the question. Was the Imperial a luxury dream or a 5,000-pound mistake waiting to happen? Power everything, seats, windows, steering, brakes, all electric. Hidden headlights, freestanding taillights, and interiors that felt like high-end living rooms, and engines up to 440 cubic inches, delivering silky but unstoppable acceleration. It was so refined, US presidents and world leaders rode in armored Imperials. Size that kills. The Imperial was wider than most roads in Europe and could barely fit in a garage. Parallel parking? Forget it. Tight corner? Pray for your fenders. In a crash, you might survive, but anyone you hit probably wouldn't. The braking problem. Early models had weird braking systems like Bendix Electro Boost, futuristic and unreliable. In some cases, the brakes would fail with no warning, leading to lawsuits and recalls. Weight versus control. All that mass made it hard to handle in emergencies. Swerve at high speed and you were sliding, not steering. A mobile palace of power and prestige, or an oversized ego trip with deadly flaws. It demanded respect on the road, but maybe, just maybe, it also demanded a little fear.
Oldsmobile Toronado, 1966 to 1970, revolutionary luxury or front-wheel fatality. In 1966, Oldsmobile shocked America. They launched the Toronado, a car that looked like it came from the future and drove like nothing else on the road. This was the first front-wheel drive American car in decades, bold, powerful, and wrapped in sleek futuristic style. But here's the question, was the Toronado a groundbreaking success or a high-speed hazard in disguise? Massive 425 cubic inch V8 mounted sideways, unique front-wheel drive layout with no transmission hump, hidden headlights, fastback styling, and a dashboard from another galaxy. It even won Motor Trend's Car of the Year in 1966. The ride was smooth, the acceleration brutal. It felt like luxury with muscle, a personal performance coupe. But there was a flip side. Too much power up front. With nearly 400 horsepower going to the front wheels, the Toronado was hard to handle at high speeds. Torque steer could yank the wheel out of your hands during sudden acceleration. At over 4,500 pounds, the car was heavy but had no modern traction control, no ABS, and minimal braking support. Slam the brakes in the rain? Good luck stopping in time. Early models had flat bench seats, no headrests, and limited crash protection. A luxury ride, yes, but not built for survival in a real crash. A triumph of American engineering, or a beautiful risk disguised as innovation? It led the way for front-wheel drive cars in the US, but for some drivers, it led straight into the guardrail.
Pontiac Bonavville, 1957 to 1976. Prestige on wheels, or highway time bomb. It had chrome that blinded in the sunlight, V8 power that roared like thunder, and interiors so plush you'd think you were sitting in a hotel lounge. This was the Pontiac Bonavville, a name that defined American luxury for nearly 2 decades. But here's the uncomfortable question. Was the Bonavville a triumph of comfort and class, or a dangerously oversized illusion? From 1957 onward, the Bonavville was Pontiac's crown jewel. 300-plus horsepower V8s, optional 8-lug aluminum wheels and high-performance suspension, power steering, power brakes, air conditioning, cruise control.
unheard of luxury in the 50s. By the 1970s, it was longer, heavier, and more loaded than ever before. It was a car made to impress. It didn't whisper wealth, it shouted it. But behind that silky ride lurked some serious concerns. The danger beneath the beauty. Size that kills. At over 19 feet long, the Bonavville was a lanyard. It was great on the open road, but in city traffic, it was hard to control, slow to stop, and prone to crashes, especially with drum brakes. Weight versus braking. The Bonavville was heavy, very heavy, but GM didn't upgrade the brakes enough to match. Stopping a 2-ton beast with mid-century brakes? That's not luxury, that's risk. Despite its price tag, the Bonavville came with minimal safety features through much of the 1960s. No airbags, no crumple zones, often no headrests or reinforced frames. It was a luxury shell, but not always built to protect the people inside. So what was the Bonavville really? A grand expression of post-war American pride, or a rolling contradiction? Elegant on the outside, dangerous underneath. It gave its drivers comfort, power, and prestige, but in the wrong moment, it could take it all away. Dodge Monaco, 1965 to 1978. Muscle class luxury or a killer in disguise? It had the name of a European kingdom, but it was pure American muscle, cloaked in chrome and comfort. This was the Dodge Monaco, a luxury cruiser with the heart of a street brawler. It looked presidential. It sounded like thunder. But was this full-size beauty actually putting lives at risk every time it hit the road? Let's find out. Introduced in 1965, the Monaco was Dodge's flagship luxury model, powered by big block V8s, up to 440 cubic inches. It came fully loaded, power seats, climate control, plush interiors, and even hidden headlights. And by the early 70s, it had evolved into a full-blown land yacht, over 18 feet long, tipping the scales at 4,500 plus pounds. It was stylish, strong, and smooth, a lounge on wheels. But then came the problems. Under the hood of danger. Size versus control. The Monaco's enormous size made it a nightmare in tight spaces and an even bigger hazard at high speeds. Handling was loose, steering was vague, and emergency maneuvers, let's just say you hoped you didn't have to make one. Power over safety. It had brute force under the hood, but early models lacked disc brakes, airbags, or structural crash protection. You could accelerate like a rocket, but stopping felt more like dragging an anchor. Police version controversy. The Monaco was widely used as a police interceptor in the 70s, fast, durable, but also blamed in multiple high-speed pursuit fatalities due to poor stability and rollover risks. In short, the same car trusted by law enforcement was also feared for its unpredictability. So was the Dodge Monaco a masterpiece of American might or a monstrous machine wrapped in luxury trim? It gave you presence, it gave you power, but sometimes it took away control.